Number one, given the image presented below, which of the following choices presents a set of points that are collinear? Okay, so the only option where it has the 3 points on the same line is going to be option D because M, X, and S are all on this line here. Okay, so the answer is D. Number two, given the figure presented below, which of the following statements is true? M and Y are collinear. That's incorrect. X and Z are collinear and coplanar. That's true. They're on the same line. They're on line F, and they're both on the same plane. They're on plane Q. So the answer is B. Quadrilateral RAPS is located at the vertices given, where will points R double prime, A double prime, P double prime, S double prime be located after the quadrilateral has been reflected across the line y equals x and then rotated 180 degrees about the origin. Okay, so first let's reflect each point. Remember that the rule for reflecting across the line y equals x, for every xy, we're going to switch the coordinates. It will turn into yx. So let's do that first to each one of the coordinates above. So r prime becomes 1, -4. A prime becomes -3. No, sorry, not -3. 4, -3. You have to switch them. P prime becomes 5, 0. And S prime becomes 1, -1. Okay. And then we're going to rotate 180 degrees. For rotations, for each x, y coordinate, oops, that turns into -x, -y. So you do the opposite of each number. So I'll do that right here next to it. So R double prime becomes -1, 4. A double prime becomes 3, -4. P double prime becomes, I'm sorry, let's go back to A. I messed up A. A double prime, the opposite of 4 is -4, and the opposite of -3 is 3. Okay. P prime, opposite of 5 is -5, opposite of 0 is still 0. And then S prime, the opposite of 1 is -1, opposite of -1 is +1. There you go. So we could see here that the correct option is going to be letter D. All right. Which of the following represents each type of transformation? Okay. So first, let's find which one's the image and the pre-image, okay? So the pre-image is in the bottom. So how does A become A prime? How does B become B prime? How does C become C prime? And how does D become D prime? Okay, so it's not a translation. I cannot simply move it because the orientation is different. But we could see here that it's actually reflected across the x-axis. Each point is equidistant to the x-axis. B and B prime are 1 unit away, C and C prime are 2 units away, and etc., etc. So the correct answer is D, reflected across the x-axis. Okay, number 5, we're going to apply the transformation vector -4, 1 to the rhombus shown at the right. So each point I'm going to move it 4 to the left and 1 up. So A becomes, goes here, A prime. C, it would be here, C prime. S will become S prime. And then T will be here. Okay, so this is the image. Okay, And then just to verify, the coordinates of A prime is negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. Negative 7, 2. So I'm looking for a picture that matches this. We see that the image is over on the left, so it's definitely not C. Could be A. Definitely not D. So it's either A or B. And notice that A has to be at, we said negative 7, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2. So this one matches it. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay, so A is the one that matches it. Okay. Um, just notice that the axes kind of shifted a little bit, but if you count the spaces, it will all be on the same place. Okay, let's go with this one here. Use the following algebraic proof for problem 6 and 7. Okay, which of the following would be correct statement for step 3 of the proof? So in step 3, we have to use the addition property of equality. So we have to add something to get the next step. We could either add 2x or add 3x to both sides. Okay, if we add 2x to both sides, we'll have negative x plus 1 is equal to 14. Notice that that is not one of the answers. But if we add 3x to both sides, we'll get 1 is equal to x plus 14. And that is option D. Okay, so you got to make sure you need to add because that's the reason provided. Okay. And then which step would be the reason for step 5? So what happened between step 4 and step 5? So we just switched the position of instead of negative 13 is equal to x, now we have x is equal to negative 13. And you're allowed to do that with the symmetric property of equality. Okay, so it'll be option D. Alrighty. Number 8, we're going to solve for x. Okay, we have two smaller segments. So you can see that ij plus jk is equal to ik, the entire segment. So we're going to substitute 2x plus 6, I'm sorry, 2x minus 6 plus 3x minus 3 is equal to 11. So that's our equation. Let's go ahead and combine like terms. And now we could solve for x, add 9 to both sides. So x is equal to 4. So that's option C. Here we use the segment addition postulate. Okay, for number 9, okay, find the measure of dkj if the measure of lkj, so lkj is the big angle, is 171, lkd is 11x plus 7, and dkj is 30x. So for this one, we're going to use the angle addition postulate. So the measure of angle LKD plus the measure of angle DKJ is equal to the measure of angle LKJ. And we're going to substitute the values in. 11x plus 7 plus 30x is equal to 171. Combine like terms, 21x plus 7 is equal to 171. I'm going to subtract 7 from both sides. So 164 is equal to 21x. Okay. And then I'm going to divide 164 by 21. And that's going to be, let's check real quick. Oh, not 21, 31. I'm sorry. 11x. Wait, I'm sorry. 11x plus 30x is 41. My bad. 41x. No wonder I was getting a weird number. So 164 divided by 41 is 4. So x is equal to 4. But the instructions are to find the measure of dkj. So we're going to substitute 4 for 30. I mean 4 for x. So 30 times x is 120 degrees. So the answer is D. Okay, number 10, we're going to find the midpoint of the line segment with the given endpoints. Okay, so let's label the points x1, y1, x2, y2. So the midpoint is, we're going to add the x values divided by 2, and we're going to add the y values divided by 2. So that is now we have 5 over 2 and 2 over 2. So 5 over 2 is 2.5 or 2.5, and then 2 over 2 is just 1. So the answer is C. Okay, number 11, find the measure of angle B. Okay, so analyzing the picture, we have this right angle here. This is a right angle. This part here is 51. So B has to be uh, 90 minus 51, which is 39 degrees. Option B. Okay, number 12. This time we have a straight angle. So the 155 and the x minus 13, they have to add up to 180. They form a linear pair. Okay, let's see. Just go ahead. I guess we could combine like terms. 155 minus 13 is 142. And then if I subtract 142 from both sides, you get 38. So C is the correct answer. X is 38. Okay, 13. We see that we have parallel lines. So the relationship between this angle and this angle are alternate interior angles. So they are congruent. So if they're congruent, you could set the expressions equal to each other. So 135 plus x is equal to 130. So if I subtract 134 from both sides, x is negative 5. Okay, 14. The relation between these two angles, these are corresponding. Okay, and corresponding angles are also congruent. So again, we could set the expressions equal to each other. 13x minus 6 is equal to 11x plus 14. Going to subtract 11x from both sides, and then add 6 to both sides. So x has to be 10. And this is find the measure of the angle indicated in bold. So this is the bold one. So we're going to substitute 10 in for x. 11 times 10 is 110, plus 14 is 124. The answer is D. All right. Given that the triangles are congruent, which is the correct congruent statement? P, Q, T. So we go from P to Q to T. Okay. So remember, the order matters. So make sure you figure out which one's corresponding to P. So the letter that corresponds to P is is S. And then PQ corresponds to SR. So we're gonna go this way. And then and then QT corresponds to RT. Okay, so the correct congruent statement is the last one, letter D. Triangle PQT is congruent to triangle SRT. 16. Given that the triangles are congruent, which angle corresponds to angle XYZ? So the angle XYZ is this one. I'm sorry. X, Y, Z. X, Y, Z. I'm so sorry. I read it wrong. So let's go back to spaces. Which corresponds to X, Z, Y? X, Z, Y. So this is the angle that we're talking about, the one with two arcs. Okay. So in the other triangle, the angle with two arcs is this one here. So for sure X has to be in the middle. Okay, and the only option with X in the middle is option C. Okay, so ZXW corresponds with XZY.